there we go. This is a nice one.
Yeah, it is a nice
Look at that. Really, oh, right in this. These are just a fun fish to catch. Nice.
Sweet.
Look at that, right in the side. Right in the, oh, you got
Double.
one? Uh-oh, doubles.
That's the one beauty about white bass is where there's one, there's many. Oh, mine popped off, Troy.
I got a pretty good feeling you're probably gonna catch another one here in the next couple of casts, unless I can beat you to it. There.
Right there. Right there, buddy.
Right there.
Closed captioning is provided by Smooth Moves, adjustable boat seat suspensions for a smoother ride.
Oh, did that hit the boat? That was
cool.
Sweet. That was awesome.
Cool.
You just chased it in and I dropped it and dunk.
Yeah, I saw that.
Super
that was
visual.
really neat.
Oh, boom. Well, it was exciting and I didn't have to take them off. Gosh, they're so aggressive. I mean, these fish, when they get fired up, it's just like, a lot of times there's schools, it's mine, 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 or you just get one tracking it on it and they go nuts.
That is the one thing when you're white bass fishing is the anticipation. When you get it, when you know when you're around them, it's like every cast, you're kind of like, and they hit, they hit right by the boat, so it's, you're watching closely each time I reel in. Oh, look at this one.
Cool. It's fun to see it.
They really school up really good. Look at this nice one. Nice. Right there. Lots of fun, especially with you get a single hook like that, just easily pops back out and get back in the water, catch another one. Here's some interesting facts about white bass that you may not know.
White bass are native to the Midwest and Great Lakes regions, although their populations have expanded into many rivers and reservoirs in the southern U.S. They spawn during the day in the spring with water temps between the mid-50s and mid-60s Fahrenheit. Pre-spawn white bass tend to move up tributary creeks and rivers, although they will spawn along windswept shorelines if flowing water isn't available. Once post-spawn white bass disperse back to the lake, they school heavily and tend to feed near the surface. Small white bass chiefly eat plankton and insects, while larger fish typically roam open water and feed on shiners and bait fish like shad, pushing or trapping them against the surface. They also pursue and pin bait fish against shallow rock piles or shorelines.
Big boy, there I got. Look at the size of them. Look at them.
Oh, look at them. They're on my bait. There's
you got
another
a big one there
look
too, boy. Ooh.
Oh, there's a whole school of them, Al.
Yeah, they're big. These are big whiteys.
Wow.
With white bass, it's important to remember that these fish are forage-driven predators. They don't care if the bait fish is suspended near the surface or near structure. They're eating machines that simply follow the bait. It's pretty simple. Find the forage and you'll find the fish. I'm reeling in as fast as I can to cast right over your line.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's, uh-oh. Ooh, hearing a little bit of that drag screaming. What do we got here? How big?
What kind of fish do
Ooh,
you have?
there we go.
Big
Oh, he's
ol'
got a buddy
whitey.
with him.
Does he?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, this is a good one. He's got one swimming right with him. Try to double ups. It's nice. You get two people. You get double ups, three. You kind of triple up on these.
Come on.
Yeah, come on. It's a
Denied.
really good one. I also like when you get them. They fight a little bit, and you get them next to the boat like this, and like this. They just kind of chill like that. You get them up here. They're easy to lift. They just kind of relax like this. Easy, nice little lift. A hook. Pop that out. There we go. Well, this one's got a little
Chubby.
He's been eating right. These things don't stop. It doesn't, you know, they're either swimming or eating or a combination of both. That's their two modes. They don't have an off switch.
So this area we're fishing, it's a bay off the main lake, and it's significantly warmer than what the main lake is. And one thing I gotta stress about fishing these warming bays, I see a lot of guys come in, and we've seen guys throughout, you know, the trips out here, they come in, they work the bank, and so many times the fish aren't necessarily on the bank. There's nothing really holding these fish other than the water temperature, but oftentimes there's largemouth, smallmouth, walleyes, white bass, and they're all living right out in the middle, 5-6 feet of water. It's still a little cool for them to be right up on the bank. So if you come into these warming bays, don't just fish the bank. Troy's got another one. Fish out in the middle, because in the middle is where the fish are, as Troy can show you.
Yeah, they're everywhere. There we are, and you get them up to the surface, and usually they just kind of, all right, perfect. You can throw 360 degrees with this storm, 360 right there.
This segment is brought to you by Northwest Ontario. There's no place like this.
There we go. I finally got that one that was chasing you, Troy. It took an extra cast, but they're just ferocious. I'm just gonna spot lock us here. You get in a spot where there's one, there's usually more. It's worth making some repetitive casts in the area for sure. Look at that. I mean, aren't they just cool fish, those gold eyes. One of the true bass, the white bass. And I know that I'm not alone when I say I love catching these things and I love their attitude. So we reached out to some of the folks on our social media sites to say, hey, what do you love about white bass? Check out what we got. Mike Fighton said, I love the fact that there are so many artificial baits they'll hit. I love throwing 3 and 4 inch swim baits on a jig head. One of the hardest fighting fish there is. They're like crappies on steroids. Rick Fike wrote, I love taking folks with me that are new to fishing for white bass during the spring run. Non-stop action. They'll be fishermen for life. Grandkids and I caught 154 in 4 hours this past spring. Song Cow Kong replied, to me, catching white bass feels like fishing for oversized sunfish for adults. I feel like a kid all over again every time I'm out fishing for them. Chris Allen said, they hit hard, fight hard, taste great, and they're great to take the kids out to catch in the upper Midwest where I live, and they're considered a nuisance for many walleye anglers, which means more fish for me and my friends. Lots of appreciation for white bass in my house. Aaron Buck wrote, I love when big schools drive shad to the surface and you can throw a light jig or a small daredevil and they'll smash it hard and fight hard. James Dowdy Jr. replied, the best fish to get young anglers hooked. Ross Hansen said, if you were right-handed and all you had was your left-handed lures, you could still catch white bass. And Brian Sherwood wrote, oh yeah, good fighters and tasty. I could go on and on, but I think you get the picture. And what do I love about white bass? Well, they bite so many different lures. Crankbaits, rattle baits, poppers, spinners, spoons, and what we're doing today, swim baiting. You know, when it comes to swim bait fishing, if you're new to it or you're experienced at it, one of the best ways to do it is just with a pre-rigged bait. This is Storm's GT360. It's got a soft paddle on the back. It's perfectly designed to fit this jig head. You take it out of the package, you cast it anywhere, you catch fish everywhere. I mean, it really is dynamite. But as you get more into swim baits, of course, you're going to develop a collection of different things. And let's start with the jigs. There's 3 real styles of jigs that I spend most of the time fishing with. And they're generally in that 1/8 ounce range. That's a good size head for a lot of your different fishing applications. So the first one that I spend most of the time swim bait fishing with is the half moon style. This is a VMC finesse half moon. It's kind of a mushroom head style. It works great. It fits most all the swim baits. It's got a fine wire hook, super deadly. The other one's the darter head. You can see it's a little narrower. You just get slightly different actions out of the swim baits with these 2 styles of heads. And then lastly, especially if I'm doing a lot of walleye fishing, it's the aspirin head. I like this one if I'm going to be jigging the bait vertically quite a bit. This is another dynamite jig. This is a VMC Moon Eye. And that size, really, it's that 3.5 to 4.5 inch size. A few of my favorite baits are one, this is the Big Bite Suicide Shad. It's of course got that great lifelike appearance. It's got a great roll. It's also got an awesome tail kick. And a couple other ones when you're really on fish and the bite's hot and heavy is just something like this little cane thumper here, or a paddle tail minnow, like this is the jointed jerk minnow here with the paddle tail from Big Bite. 2 great baits. The bottom line with this stuff is you can't fish it wrong. Cast it out, reel it in, alter your retrieve speed, whatever you do, it's fishy. The fish like it. So get yourself some swim baits because it's a lot of fun and they catch a lot of fish.
That style of bait, that profile, just catches fish, and having the opportunity to travel across the country, and I shore fish a lot. And pretty much that's regardless of whatever I'm fishing for, if it's trout, bass, saltwater for smaller saltwater fish, you know, that style of bait is so universal for catching just about anything. It's just incredible. If a fish swims, it pretty much, there's a good chance that it eats little minnows and bait fish. And anywhere, anytime, pretty much this is just an extremely safe bet to catch fish.
I think up here, Troy,
Yeah.
there's really never a bad time of year to use this technique. Spring, summer, fall, you're gonna catch fish any time of year, but right now it's spring and we are looking for warm water, and warm water just means life. And if there's life around, bait fish, bugs, white bass are certainly gonna be there. And these are a lot of bucks that we're catching right
There
now.
we go.
Oh, doubled up.
Another double.
They're just
Another
awesome.
double.
Dubs.
Dubs. Just like that. For an easy lift. Come here, perfect. They are just a blast to catch.
There's a lot of males in here right now. The hens will come in first, but you get these big pushes of males. They'll end up spawning somewhere where there's some big gravelly windswept shoreline, but right now, this is what we call a warming bay. The fish are in here to eat. These are a lot of bucks, and we actually want to try blackening a few white bass. So Troy and I are going to keep a couple for a nice dinner.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
Obviously, you know, white bass would be like a giant panfish, but I'm not necessarily using panfish equipment for this. So for me, in my estimation, if I was gonna tell somebody, hey, you wanna go out, catch fish, as simple as possible, a swim bait, you know, the paddle tail, and a little jig is one of the best ways to do it. And for me, the rod and reel, my preference is a 7-foot medium light fast action rod. Pair that with a size 1,000 to 2,000 size reel, put 10-pound braid, a little bit of leader on there. You're in business. You can throw this thing anywhere, catch fish everywhere. It's just it's an awesome system. But that medium light action, 7-foot, you can bomb the baits a long ways, and it's really fun to fight the fish on it too.
Oh, and their fight. Love it. This one's coming in sideways right here. There you go. Get over here. When they hit, it's not like other fish. These white bass hit, it's like they're running full speed when they grab the bait. Look at that. Sometimes they miss, most of the time they don't. They got pretty good aim. Nice. You know, when you're white bass fishing, basically you can fish entirely around the boat. Sometimes some of our doubles, we're on opposite end. He threw way up there, I threw way back there, and there's really no wrong place to cast. I mean, they just spread out all over, and baits like these swim baits are great because you're just covering water. It's kind of like a sprinkler. You're just like all the way around, and you get bit pretty much everywhere when you're in the right area. And the area could be, you know, the size of a football field. You just go back and forth, cast everywhere. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Nailed it.
Look at that, big wallower. Big wallower. I just cannot get over how amazing, oh, there's another one with him, Troy.
Yeah.
Boat control is in this shallow water fishing situation. It is just nuts. If we get a school of fish here, I can either spot lock, Troy's got the advantage to cast downwind, or I can use a talon in the back. But I just think about doing this even a few years ago where I just had a 4-Trex, which is a great motor, but you're always fighting. You can't ever step away from the trolling motor. You're gonna blow into the fish or you're doing something. It's just, gosh, just makes each fish catch just that much more enjoyable. Look at that, golly, you're cool. And you like this, Troy's in the penalty
nice
box
one, yeah.
retying after his pike while I'm drilling whiteys.
As you said, and you happen to have one following in, I think, on that one too, Brian. Yeah, there's a lot of different knots you can utilize. For a little bit of extra action on your bait, the loop knot is a really great option. The non-slip mono loop is also known as the Cray loop, as it has been popularized by fishing legend Lefty Cray. As its name suggests, it forms a non-slip loop at the end of a fishing line. The loop connection to a lure can give it a more natural action. Step 1. Make an overhand knot in the line about 10 inches from the end. Pass the tag end through the hook eye and back through the loop of the overhand knot. Step 2. Wrap the tag end around the standing part 5 or 6 times. Bring the tag end back through the overhand knot, entering from the same side it exited from before. Step 3. Moisten the knot, then pull slowly on the tag end to cinch the wraps loosely together. Then pull the loop in the standing line in opposite directions to seat the knot. And trim the tag end, and you have yourself a loop knot.
Yep. Oh, we had him.
Yeah. That's the one. The one that they'll.
Hold your pants down.
Yeah. Pull my pants down. Nailed it. I hit it multiple times. I like them, almost like smallmouth sometimes too, but they'll come up and you'll be like, boom, boom. And they'll hit it like 2 or 3 times. But if you get hit once, kind of change up the retrieve. Not always, sometimes just that steady roll works. You can kind of play with it and see what they want. But I do like the fact that they'll hit 2 or 3 times on a long cast like that before you get them.
That was not a short strike, Troy.
No, they're a little drag screaming.
Oh, he's coming at me. He's running, he's running, he's running. That's the perfect setup for doing this deal, that rod and reel. I like fishing a little bit heavier leader, you know. A lot of panfish stuff you'd be using 4 or 6 pound tests. With this 10, 12, they don't care. They just bite it. Having a little heavier leader just saves you some baits, you know. So 10 pound, 12 pound, something like that is all you need. It just prevents a lot of pike bite offs. And you go through a ton of fish. You do need to retie periodically because their mouth is rough enough that it, you know, it starts to scuff up that fluoro after a while. But I definitely recommend fluoro over mono for a leader. And it's just for that abrasion resistance. That fluoro is really tough stuff, and it holds up to the pike and those rough teeth on the white bass because you go through a lot of fish.
The Edge is presented by these and other fine sponsors.
So, for me, any fish that you're gonna clean, it definitely pays off to bleed them out ahead of time. So I'll just give them a bonk on the head, and then I'm just gonna come right underneath here, right underneath the gills. Get through that. I'll just cut that out. See the blood's running out there. And I'll put them in the live well where it's running. They'll bleed out. They'll be nice and clean when we're ready to take the fillets. So we're gonna try cleaning up a few of these white bass. They've already been bled. So now what I'm gonna do is, of course, these things have big bones. They've got tough scales. They've got kind of a tough hide. So having an electric knife with you makes a real difference. This is a lithium ion. So I'm just gonna take the fillets off here. One thing about these white bass is they definitely have a fatty, and they've got a really distinct mud line. So I'll show you when I take this skin off of this guy here. The red meat that I'm talking about. You can see that's not tasty at all. So you can notice I didn't go real close to the skin just to remove some of that. So, all right, so we'll do a little finish work on these beauties here. Get the eppies out so there's this nice cleavage point. Feel the eppies, we'll split the fish right through there. We'll just take and with the martini here, trim this red off. This is where all that funky taste is coming from, is this right here. Boom. White bass fillets. Well, I'm not just going to leave you hanging. Here's a simple blackening recipe I've used for many fish, and the firmer the fish, the better. This is awesome. Start by dipping the fillets in melted butter, then cover the fillets with blackening seasoning. You can make your own or pick some up at just about any grocery store. Then place the fillets into a very hot cast iron pan and add a bit more melted butter on top of the fillets. They should start smoking as soon as they hit the pan. Flip them after a minute or two and boom, you've got blackened fish. Serve with some lemon wedges, rice or whipped potatoes, and some fresh grilled spring asparagus and you are set.
Hey, you know, my daily life is really pretty darn simple. It involves fishing and the fishing industry 24/7, every day of the week, all year long. I talk to somebody about fishing. I read about fishing. I'm out doing television shows. Fishing and the fishing industry are a big part of my life, always has been, and will be until it's time for me to go home. The other part of my daily life is the Bible, the Word of God. I study it and have for years. It's an important part of my daily life, and I learn a lot from it, and I implement it into my life on a regular basis. And there's a lot of scriptures in here that every once in a while have real meaning to me, and that I usually confess on a regular basis, particularly if I'm dealing with certain circumstances. One of those scriptures, many of you probably have heard it and read it before, and many of you probably haven't. And it's in John 10:10. And I'll read it to you. This is the New King James Version. It's real simple. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I come that you may have life, and that you may have it more abundantly. Now that's pretty simple, clear to the point, like so much of God's Word is. He gets right to the point. And that's one of those scriptures that you don't have to have 40 theologians get together and spend 10 years and pick it apart word by word by word. Well, did he really mean this or does it mean this? It's real simple. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, who do you think the thief is? Come on, you know who I'm talking about. I came to give you life and give it to you more abundantly. What would you rather have? To me, what that means, when good things happen in my life, I give God praise and glory. That is an abundant blessing from Him. And when things are bad in my life, or things that I see in the news, something that steals, kills, or destroys, I know that this comes from the thief. Bad is the thief, good is God. It's really that simple. God loves you, cares about you, and wants the best for you, wants you to live this life victoriously. I've been in His Word for many, many years, and it has been life-changing, life-changing, life-changing. I can't say enough about this book. It has an impact on so many people in so many different ways, and it's all a good impact when it becomes real. Hey, I had to share that with you from my heart. From all of us here at The Edge, you have a good, safe fishing season. I'll see you on the water.